Welcome to the Productivity Podcast. I'm delighted to be joined by Dan Well, CEO at Rendell Intelligence and Insights again for our monthly chat. Hi, Di.
Simon.
How you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good. Enjoyed some, at the time of recording, some really nice weather. So it always makes you feel better, which is hopefully what we'll find in the results.
Yes, I do have some more positive news for you. I know we've been waiting for it for a number of months. So we haven't turned the corner, but we have seen some more positive results on these, particularly on the spend side this month, which is great news. So I'll just quickly run through Footfall because clearly, for most businesses, if you don't have the Footfall, you don't have the spend. So Footfall, as reported by Sensormatic, which is Footfall into stores, was 1.7% below July 2024 last month. So a drop in customers going into stores, which actually is similar to the result from Beauclair, who tracks spending in towns and cities, and they reported a drop of 1.4%. So slightly better on the spend side than on the Footfall side, which is interesting, and a much better result than June, where sales in towns and cities were down 8.5%. So we're not out the woods. It's still negative, but actually it has bounced back a little. And what was interesting was that the number of customers going into store was actually the best result since May last year at just 0.9% below July 2024. So, it isn't a wholly now down to, fewer customers going in. It's just because they're quite cautious about spending. So those customers who did spend were probably buying as much. The transaction numbers were down. So they're just being a little bit cautious, but much, much better result. Much more where we want it to be.
Good. So we've finally got some positive news, but let's not get carried away as ever. Let's temper it with the reality of where we're at.
Yeah.
So, as I said at the start, weather makes us feel better. And in fairness, we have had a good run this year, haven't we? There's, again, these headlines muted. It's going to be the hottest year on record, the driest year on record, etc., certainly for the UK. Some conflicting stories, but what I've been reading is lots more people stayed at home or will stay at home, i.e. not travel outside of the UK for holiday this year. So that must have an immediate impact.
Oh, absolutely, because clearly spend is going to go back into UK towns and cities, which of course is what Beauclair measure. So we're going to see some of that positive spend coming back into our economy. And actually the 5 sectors that account for the majority of spend, which are fashion, food and drink, aka hospitality, general retail, grocery and health and beauty, all saw significant improvements in spend in those categories in July versus June, which is really good. And also better than July last year. I mean, July last year was pretty much a damp squib. It wasn't particularly great. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't like this year with lots of hot sunny weather. So we've seen much better results in food and drink because clearly people can sit out and eat and go, and it's pleasant and lovely. And also in fashion, actually, it was 3.2% below July 2024 last month. But, in June, it was 10.8% below 2024. So, we've seen an improvement there, which is really good news for the fashion industry because they, as we know, very weather dependent and very short seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, in the news, you've got, at the time of recording, River Island, Claire's Accessories, so all those really difficult trading environments, again, starting to flush out, unfortunately, some of those that have struggled.
Yes. And I mean, it's sad, isn't it? But, I suppose the longer you're in this industry, and, I've been in it now for 35 years.
Too many years to mention.
I know. But you do see retailers, which were stalwarts in my teenage years, River Island, all of those guys who I used to shop at, you see them come and go. And I think you have to accept that if you don't stay on top of things, it is the nature of retail. It is very, very dangerous out there in that market.
The tell there was used to shop at. So,
yes.
That we all love Woolies, but we all stopped shopping there, didn't we? So we're a nation of shopkeepers. I've said it before, but we also vote with our feet, don't we? And you're not relevant, you don't survive, unfortunately.
No, absolutely. And in this new era where everything is immediate and digital, and it's very transient, it is very much harder to stay relevant. So I'm not surprised that some I mean, if you look at Claire's accessories, you can get what is in Claire's accessories in every supermarket in the UK. Home Bargains sell it, everywhere sells it, and it's low margin and it needs high volume. And they're in very highly rented store locations in shopping centres. So I'm not surprised. It isn't the first time they've been through this.
No.
And it comes through eventually.
It does. You can't keep avoiding the inevitable, unfortunately.
No.
But I suppose to temper the good news that we've had little of in the last probably 18 months, I'll talk a bit of doom and gloom. So, interest rates have gone down. Good news if you've got a mortgage and it's not on a fixed rate. Good news if you're buying stuff, not great if you're saving. So, double-edged sword. Employment is 0.5% up year on year. So, it's 4.7%. Highest in 4 years, which we kind of predicted a while ago, if you recall, that some of these government changes, that would be one of the outcomes, unfortunately, and it's very true. And interestingly, youth unemployment's up by 14.1%, which I kind of put down, having just seen my son go through some of this. A lot less apprenticeships coming out of college, a lot less casual jobs. There's talk again of record numbers of people going to uni. Is that a consequence of there being fewer options, etc.? So, one to keep an eye on. I unfortunately predict that number's going to keep growing. And as ever, retail, the golden quarter that we come into will mean that maybe even grows further for some, unfortunately. So, there's still some significant headwind on the way, but I suppose we're kind of turning into that home straight now, aren't we? Where if you're one of the grocers and you rely on this golden fourth quarter, you can kind of start to see Halloween, you can start to see Black Friday, Cyber Monday, week, month, whatever it is now. You can, I spoke to somebody this morning and they were just finishing their Christmas campaign. So all of that's coming into view, isn't it? It's starting to come into focus where it's been a long way off.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean, I work with Beauclair, as you know, and we're planning a webinar on the 25th of September to, sort of really wrap up the 3 quarters and start to forecast what's happening in the 4th quarter of the year. So we're, and that's only a few weeks away. And so we really are on the cusp of, the most important trading period. I mean, the good news is that these 5 sectors have done better. And grocery actually was sort of just below where we were last month. So that's good. Health and beauty was flat or just slightly above. So that's people were clearly buying sun cream and makeup, clearly that isn't discretionary. But, discretionary items, they're the ones, especially when they're high margin, high cost, like fashion, are going to, be in there for the cut for them for many people. So it's going to be challenging. Again, it's going to be challenging. If the younger people are feeling the pinch more than, us oldies, then that may be good for Christmas, because actually us oldies are the ones that often control the majority of the purse, particularly around grocery. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it's not going to be a Q4 without its challenges, that's for sure.
No, and it never is. Just I suppose to be balanced and pragmatic. Again, as a consumer, you hope it means that there's better deals. I think, again, if we talked a lot about the run-up last year and then post the Golden Quarter event, lots of discounting brought forward. If I remember rightly, there was kind of a real blur from Black Friday onwards, wasn't there? People were discounting pretty much all the way from that point in November onwards.
Yeah, absolutely. And it happens every year, to be fair. And, I don't know, this may actually give a bit of a false dawn for some retailers, and they may buy too much stock, thinking that, this results here are starting to, get back to where we were and be a little bit more optimistic, which may mean that we've got some more severe discounting coming through quarter 4. The food and drink industry is going to have a tough time because wages, as you know, as we talked about, have gone up for a whole, through labour shortages and salary increases. So that's going to be tough for a lot of people, actually. It's continuing to be tough. And fashion, I think that we may see some real bargains if they bought too much summer stock and haven't managed to shift it.
Yeah. Now's the time to get it, I think, as we start to turn into the darker evenings. So from a consumer point of view, again, as per last year, could be a really good opportunity to get some early bargains, get some early Christmas presents and other bits. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how those, again, January sale type organisations, certainly your furniture and your bedding and those big considered purchases fare, because those are the things we'll potentially pull back on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the good news is that we're sitting in July with a result that isn't too shocking, because June was pretty dire, which is encouraging. So we just have to wait for August and see what that delivers, really, because again, we've had a good month weather-wise, and if people have stayed home, hopefully that will have boosted spend.
Perfect. Well, on that positive note, for a long time in many of our chats, we will pause there. Fingers crossed July into August looks good, and we'll speak next month then.
Brilliant. Thanks, Simon.
Thank you.